There comes a moment in every man's life when he looks at himself in the mirror and realizes the truth he has been avoiding for years. He did not become this version of himself suddenly. He became it slowly, silently, by tolerating the things he should have walked away from. Pain doesn't begin with violence. It begins with permission. The permission you give to people who drain you. The permission you give to habits that poison you. The permission you give to a life that makes you smaller each day. You didn't lose your strength in one moment. You lost it by tolerating disrespect, by tolerating distraction, by tolerating weakness, by tolerating the slow erosion of your spirit. And the truth is brutal. What you tolerate is what you eventually become. If you tolerate chaos, you will become anxious. If you tolerate disrespect, you will become insecure. If you tolerate laziness, you will become powerless. If you tolerate toxic people, you will become toxic yourself. Stay with me until the end, because everything you need to rebuild your strength, your dignity, your discipline, your peace will be revealed here. If this message speaks to you, do the secret act of strength. Subscribe, like, and comment, not for vanity, but to push this message to the next man who's drowning silently. Because the truth is simple. Men aren't broken. They're eroded by the things they tolerate. Let's begin. The core theme: what you allow, you internalize. At the center of Stoic philosophy lies an idea sharper than a blade. The standards you choose define the man you become. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." But it's not only thoughts, it's what you allow into your life, what you accept, what you tolerate. Seneca warned, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man." He meant this. Fear makes you tolerate a lesser life. Fear keeps you small. Fear convinces you that mediocrity is safer than growth. Epictetus put it even more clearly. You become what you give your attention to. And most people don't give their attention intentionally. They let it be stolen by noise, by people, by cravings, by weakness. Your life becomes a reflection of the things you allow to sit in your mind. If you tolerate disrespect, your silence becomes permission. If you tolerate wasted time, your potential rots slowly. If you tolerate emotional chaos, your peace dies quietly. You don't rise accidentally. You don't fall accidentally. You become what you tolerate. Story 1. The man who let disrespect define him. Let me tell you the story of Michael. Michael was the kind of man who never wanted conflict. He avoided arguments, stayed polite, and always tried to keep the peace. He tolerated small insults because it wasn't a big deal. He tolerated co-workers taking advantage of him because it wasn't worth the fight. He tolerated his girlfriend's emotional manipulation because he didn't want to seem harsh. Each time he tolerated disrespect, he lost a piece of himself. Not visibly, quietly, in his posture, in his confidence, in his decisions. His silence became a signal. Treat me like this, I won't stop you. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." But Michael didn't claim that power. He handed it away through tolerance. And slowly, inevitably, he became the kind of man who accepted disrespect, and lived in the shadow of disrespect. Until one day, his father told him words he never forgot. What you allow today becomes your identity tomorrow. This was the moment Michael chose to stop tolerating, to raise standards, to build boundaries, not through anger, but through clarity. And when he stopped tolerating disrespect, his life changed, not because the world changed, but because he did. Story 2, the person who lost years to distraction. Now let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah had dreams, writing, traveling, building her own business. But she tolerated one thing quietly: distraction. She tolerated hours of scrolling. She tolerated meaningless conversations. She tolerated people who wasted her time. She tolerated emotional drama because she didn't want to be alone with her thoughts. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Sarah wasn't intentionally destroying her potential. She was tolerating the slow, soft death of distraction. And distraction became her identity, not because she wanted it, but because she allowed it. One day, she realized. A year had passed, then 2, then 5. Nothing was built, nothing was created, nothing meaningful had been pursued, because what you tolerate becomes your life. Sarah broke the cycle not through motivation, but through refusal. I refuse to tolerate a life that wastes me. That was the day everything changed. The Stoic principle: you either raise your standards or lower your life. Stoicism is not emotionlessness. It is clarity. A Stoic looks at his life with brutal honesty and asks, what am I tolerating that is poisoning my spirit? Because here is the truth. You cannot tolerate weakness and expect strength. You cannot tolerate disrespect and expect dignity. You cannot tolerate addictions and expect freedom. You cannot tolerate laziness and expect greatness. You cannot tolerate lies and expect peace. What you tolerate builds you, shapes you, defines you. If you allow toxicity, your heart becomes toxic. If you allow chaos, your mind becomes chaotic. If you allow sin, your spirit becomes numb. The Bible warns, a little leaven leavens the whole lump, meaning even a small compromise can corrupt the entire soul. Real life situation. 1. Tolerating a toxic relationship. Imagine this. You're in a relationship with someone who belittles you, criticizes you, uses your weaknesses against you, and drains your energy. You tell yourself, it's not that bad. Everyone has flaws. So you tolerate it. But the cost is high. Your self-worth slowly cracks. Your peace fades. Your confidence dies. Your world shrinks. Not because they destroyed you, but because you tolerated the destruction. A Stoic response is not anger. It is clarity. Love that requires me to lose myself is not love. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Boundaries are sacred. Walking away is not cruelty. It is stewardship of your soul. Real life situation. 2. Tolerating your own laziness. Another example. You have goals, a stronger body, a sharper mind, a disciplined life. But every day you tolerate excuses. You tolerate, I'll start tomorrow. You tolerate fatigue. You tolerate hunger. You tolerate comfort. And comfort shapes you, because comfort tolerated repeatedly becomes identity. You don't become disciplined by accident. You become disciplined by refusing to tolerate anything less. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. You cannot master yourself while tolerating your own weakness. 10. Stoic practical actions. How to stop tolerating what destroys you. Here are 10 actions the Stoics would tell you today. 1. End the habit of explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Your peace is more valuable than their approval. 2. Walk away from conversations rooted in drama and chaos. Your mind is sacred. 4. Stop tolerating a weak schedule. Your calendar is a reflection of your destiny. 5. Stop justifying the addictions that steal your time and energy. What you feed grows. What you starve dies. 6. Reject thoughts that shrink your identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. 7. Eliminate the excuses that protect your comfort zone. Comfort is the enemy of strength. 8. Replace complaining with action. The Stoics believed complaints weaken the soul. 9. Say no more often. The Bible says, let your no be no. Boundaries are spiritual armor. 10. Leave every place where your dignity is optional. Anywhere you must beg for respect is a place that poisons your spirit. The rising, the man you become when you stop tolerating less. When you stop tolerating what weakens you, something powerful happens. Your voice deepens, your posture straightens, your mind becomes clear, your soul becomes strong, your standards rise, your identity shifts, your atmosphere changes. You stop reacting to everything. You stop begging for attention. You stop drowning in emotional noise. You become the architect of your own character, because what you refuse to tolerate defines the man you choose to become. Jesus said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." The truth is this: you were never meant to be weak. You were never meant to live small. You were never meant to tolerate a lesser life. You were built to rise, to stand, to act, to lead. Final message: the call to action. The world will try to shrink you. People will try to use you. Distraction will try to numb you. Comfort will try to weaken you. But you are responsible, fully, deeply, completely responsible for what you tolerate. So, take back your life. Raise your standards. Guard your soul. Respect your destiny. And refuse to tolerate anything that poisons what God is growing in you. Write in the comments, "We act together, brothers." May God preserve you. Trust in Him, and He will act.